basically what we're taught in school is just fear and obedience. You can't even take a piss without raising your hand, and you can't be out in the hall without a stupid pass that's made out of fucking laminated paper. What does that teach you? Fear and obedience. You can't even eat lunch without the orderly line and this whole, like, this thing, you know what I mean? And then what that does is you gotta think, within people, you have social structures. Then within your social structure, right, that's where all this stuff happens, where cool kids, not cool kids, bohemian kids, skater kids, rap kids, and this thing. And then when you're in line, you get your little cutsies from your peer group. And if your peer group is in the front of the line, you end up getting your cutsies from your front of the line peer group. And what that creates is separation. And what that's from is fear and obedience. Because the only thing that comes from fear and obedience is group mentality. Because it's a form of repression. So then what you're doing is you're going through a curriculum. And then with this curriculum, it's taught to you very, very slowly. And it's very boring. You go and open a textbook and you have to, like, you read pages 100 through 150 in one night. These kids running around in school right now have these backpacks that are, like, ridiculously heavy. Okay. With all these books, and all it is a burden. The same way that, like, when you're an adult, you have all this shit that you collect, and then you're fucking, it's just a burden. And then you move and it's just a fucking burden. You just have these burdens. And all of that stuff is instilled in us at a very young age. And that's why when you go out into the world and you say hello to a perfect stranger, they think something's wrong with you. And that's because of the system. And what that creates is a really fucked up paradigm, because nobody knows anything, nobody trusts anybody, but they trust what they say on this fucking TV. If I was to tell you something about what money is, you would have a very, very tough time believing me, because I'm just a fucking stranger. Fucking stranger danger. And this fucking thing has been telling you what money is for so fucking long that, oh, you just need to work harder. You just need to work more hours. Get a fucking second job. Are you fucking kidding me? It doesn't make any sense at all. But that doesn't benefit the people, obviously. It benefits the system. Because all of this stuff has been planned for a very long time. The United States is only one portion of the world. And what that portion of the world is the military system, your fucking bullies. Why do you think we're in everything? Why do you think we're in Afghanistan? We're in Afghanistan because of the fucking... Yeah. Heroin only grows in one portion of the world. Heroin. It only grows in one portion of the world. And that's in this area. And you can see it all the time. You can look it up on the internet. The reason why we're in Afghanistan and Iraq might possibly be for oil. It might possibly be because of politics. But one of the major purposes is because of heroin, poppy plants. The reason why we have so much interest, our country has so much interest in poppy plants, is because that is the major ingredient in fucking painkillers. There's a painkiller epidemic in our nation, where basically you have young kids that are raiding their parents' fucking prescription medicine cabinets and getting high, and all of that stuff has addictive traits to it. And what ends up happening is these pills, these Oxycontins, are going for, I don't even know, 40 bucks on the street, one Oxycontin. I don't even know the price. Wow. I don't even know the price, but I know it's expensive. Yeah. And then after a while, you're paying 40 bucks for these Oxycontins, and you start to wonder, fuck that, I can go get a bag of heroin for $5 in fucking Hartford on Park Street. So I'm actually going to get fucking heroin instead. And then you want to get off of the heroin, right? Because you want to become a functioning member of society. So what do? You go to a methadone clinic, which is structured by a rehab facility, which is structured by the government, which ends up being coming from these huge pharmaceutical companies that are making billions and billions of dollars, that have huge lobbyists, and that pay their lobbyists exorbitant amounts of money to get their way. And what ends up happening is they go and talk to these politicians and they're buddy-buddy with them all because they're hanging out. You're just a fucking suit. And you're just a suit shaking hands, probably banging each other's wives or whatever the fuck goes on, and you're hanging out with each other, and it's the same way that the criminal system is. If you aren't hurting yourself or anyone else, as long as you get a lawyer, you're going to walk from it. 100%. I don't care what it is. If poor guy gets a DUI and guy that works his whole life gets a DUI, yeah. If poor guy gets a DUI and person that has a bunch of money behind him gets a DUI, there's two different things that happens. The poor man gets a public defender, which is basically part of the system already. He already knows everybody. He already has a reputation, you know? This is how it works. This is the social structure. He already has a reputation. The chances of him getting off scot-free, very, very difficult. But the guy that has the money, the chances of him getting off scot-free, he's going to get the best lawyer, the guy that schmoozes with the judge, knows the judge's family, all this shit. He's gonna end up, but this is where the extortion comes in. Because the guy with the money is going to pay the lawyer thousands of dollars. Yeah. The lawyer's going to take that money, do whatever he wants with it, and he's also going to pay off the judge, pay off the prosecutor, pay off everybody. And then next thing you know, I don't know if you've ever noticed in the court system, in our infinite ways of technology, the court system, for some reason, they're still passing around folders. Physical folders. Why? Because the folders can disappear. Files being deleted and things are much more difficult. So who's to say that, well, somehow something happens and it's just people doing it. It's not anybody of any higher authority at all. It's just people. It's just people, and it's a network of people. That's it. They all know each other. Folders can disappear. And it all depends on how much money you have to make that folder disappear and who you know.
I agree with you.
And this whole entire process, and then even outside of that, this whole DUI process, because, I mean, I don't believe in alcohol, like, at all. I mean, I indulge, but really when it all boils down to it is I think about it, because, you know what, alcohol is extremely detrimental. You get into your car and you're sideways or whatever, and it's all these kids, we're all just running around fucking drinking, partying, fucking everybody, and then you get in your car and you're fucking smashing shit up, shit's going on, crazy things are going on, you're being harassed by the police, all these things, because it's fucking inebriation. You can't control your motor skills. Your motor skills get fucked up. So how is it that Ronald Reagan, which is a fucking actor, he, like, if you look into his background, the guy's a fucking actor. Yeah. How is it that Ronald Reagan, the president of your country at some time, he's telling the people, and this is all in primitive times where people had a very tough time researching. Like, you had to actually, like, jump through hurdles to actually even do research because all this information was oppressed. Right. So who's to say that this fucking guy running around saying that marijuana is the worst drug known to man? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because, meanwhile, you're drinking fucking fermented, you know, whatever the fuck, the byproduct is alcohol, killing your liver, all of these things, fucking guys fucking in the military fucking getting hammered, beating up their wives and shit, and all this fucking nonsense, you know? But marijuana, when you fucking smoke it, all you want to do is curl up in a fucking ball, watch TV, and fucking eat fucking potato chips. You know what I mean? But it's the fucking, but that's the worst. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But this is what people believe. Because I see it. I deal with, you know, I have friends that are of all ages and classes and races or whatever the fuck. And basically, from my experience, is that, you know, the 45 plus range, they're very, very afraid of marijuana. Very afraid. And it's because of that system and that paradigm. Is smoke good for you? Is smoking fucking dead plant matter good for your fucking body? No, not at all. It's you're inhaling fucking smoke. You light a fire and you put your face above it and you inhale smoke. But is it really going to fucking kill you the way that alcohol kills you? No. I mean, there are absolutely 0 recorded cases of deaths from the use of marijuana. You could research it your whole entire life. You'll never find it.